mince and sausages. Data points, then talk to TV Magic, Frankston and the Peninsula. TV Magic are your local TV and antenna specialists. We look after everything: TV, home theatre, satellite, plus all electrical work. Visit us at tvmagic.com.au or contact Clint for a free quote on 0484 395 555. TV Magic. We make all your TV problems disappear. A station sponsor.
Oh, it's good to be back.
It's a goal from 70 metres!
Goes down towards his feet.
Oh, that's power at the back. Fantastic. Something from nothing. That Dramana were pressing. You're listening and watching the voice of Peninsula football.
The 200 gamer has put through the first goal of the game.
Welcome to the RPPFM footy coverage.
This is where every NFL happens.
We're live on the radio on 98.7 or 98.3, and you can listen to us through our app.
The right footed goal. It bounces. It's a save ball, mate.
Two gentlemen who will be calling our reaction this afternoon, short past Kelly, and a man who might even be, and it's rumoured, could be on the shortlist for the presidency of Hawthorn. So it's good afternoon to Michael Voss.
Oh, it's on. It is on.
It had to happen. 21 and RPPFM rocks back into sport on the Mornington Peninsula and Frankston.
So all of a sudden the margin is back to 9 points.
Another major, and he walks up to the crowd and says, "How do you like that?"
This is where every NFL happens. RPPFM, the voice of Peninsula football.
Oh, we're out of lockdown 5.0. We've got plenty to talk about. We are out and about. It's round 16 in Division 1 football, and we've got plenty to talk about. As I just mentioned, we need to talk about relegation. What's going on there? There's been lots of expressions of interest. There's been plenty going in. Pay-per-view is something very, very new at the moment. But you are listening and watching us live here from Bendigo Bank Studios. As I welcome you all very, very, very top of the morning to you from the Bendigo Bank Studios in Mornington. And very, very good morning to you, Mr. Michael Voss.
Good morning, Short Pass. I feel alive this morning. I really do. Football's back, and we got, 3 rounds of Division 1, 2 rounds of Division 2 to go. But that's including today as well, so 2 and 1 after this week. But no, feel good this morning. Looking forward to having football back, and it's going to be a big day at Frankston this afternoon. Bombers need to continue winning to try and finish in that top 3. They're just behind the top 3 at the moment. Good morning, Craigo.
Good morning, Vossi. How are you? sorry, I was
under the bus.
I was thrown under the bus there. I was just being instructed by Sus to check our stream that's working. But good week. I had a better week than you, obviously. Well, a better end of the week than you did.
Better
yesterday.
End of the week.
Right. Good morning, Sus.
Moving straight along, Craig. Before we get to Sus, I know you've got a direct line to Alistair. You would have been on the phone to him last night. You probably went around there, had a few beers and just consoled him.
Bit of a shoulder massage.
How's he feeling?
Look.
Like a man that just got a $1.2 million payout probably would feel, I'd imagine.
Yeah, look,
no holes in the plaster.
To be perfectly honest, as I put up a post yesterday, and one of the things I said, it's a bitter pill to swallow, and it is, because he's the best coach in the league. He will be for another 10 years. He won't be at Hawthorn anymore, and that's a real shame of it all.
Yeah, it is. And if you want to listen to more, I'm sure there's going to be more after the Punt Football show from the locker room starting at 10:30. But back to this man here. We're just not the same without him. He's the leader of the pack. Vroom, vroom. Good morning to you, Mr. Peter Nippel-Susevich.
Chiefs, how we all going?
Oh, look, mate, aren't we all up and about? I know you were like a kid in a candy store last night. I was bloody calls, and my beautiful partner said, "Who's that?" And I said, "It's bloody Sus again." And it was just all, mate, there was, the scene was up and about, wasn't it?
there was a telecommunication explosion last. It just went absolutely.
My phone ended up going flat, so that's how hot we were. I was receiving messages on the Messenger app. I was receiving texts. I was receiving phone calls. It was all happening, and we
Ash played games on your phone to drain the power, so you couldn't get any more.
Probably did. No, I was going down to me and my son. We went down to pick up some beautiful Chinese takeaway down at Paul Louis down in Rye, which was very, very lovely. An old classic. If you're southbound, Paul Louis is the place to go for Chinese. But anyway, moving right along. As I mentioned off the top, we've got plenty to talk about. We're out of lockdown 5.0. Local sport is back. No crowds. This is where I want to just quickly touch on before we move into this week's Division 1.
No loose dogs?
Well, look, she's pretty tight. I think clubs are not necessarily taking it seriously, because I'm not suggesting they didn't last time, but I think the message is that if you can't... if you have to stay away, then stay away. But I don't think it's going to be any different. It's a beautiful day for football. The sun is absolutely shining, and looking out our little porthole window, I can see only blue skies, which is something very, very special for the return of football this week's us.
Looking at our rectangular window.
Yes.
It's great to be back. It is. I think everyone's relieved. We had some comments on social.
So your phone is still going off.
It's still going off. And
it's going to be a big day.
Yeah. And I suppose we had some people querying, what's the point of coming back after just one night of training?
Yep.
So, I had a chat with a person on that, and I said, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a competition, or would you rather have people out and about in the community playing sport? So that settled him down a fair bit. So, very happy we're back. So,
absolutely. Look, there was, we're off the top, I didn't mention, of course, we will be joining us very, very shortly. Vossi will be the Regional General Manager of AFL South East, Will Dakis, joining us we have plenty to talk about. So if you want to stay informed, we've got the man himself that makes the decisions at the league. So stay tuned for that. But are you happy to bring us through very quickly, or should we just? I'll
recap the ladder in a minute. I'll just say this. I'm very surprised, to be perfectly honest, that we're here today. I'm surprised due to the fact that I didn't think they'd open up from 5Ks to basically.
You and I spoke earlier in the week, and we both agreed that we thought that it would have gone to 25Ks. So we're very lucky. Victoria's in a very good position at the moment, where I would say 99. Only 99% of cases are all in isolation, and I've just hot off the press. There's been two cases.
And one
today.
One in
ISO.
One in ISO and one
mystery.
One mystery case.
Turn your button on. How long have you been doing this?
Sorry, guys. One mystery
case, which is always a little bit scary with the Delta version.
Not here to talk about COVID.
We're not. Exactly right. And
the ladder.
I'll go
through the ladder.
We haven't spoken in ages. It's so much.
3 rounds to go in Division 1. So we're back and we're playing football, which is fantastic, and we're all happy about that. Frankston YCW, 38 points, sitting on top.
No one happier than you.
I feel alive this morning, I tell you.
I know.
You've
really got a sparkle in your eye. I'm enjoying it.
Bomb Beach, half a game back on 36. Mount Eliza on 34. Bombers on 32. Now, if you look at that, you see that Mount Eliza and YCW are first and third. They with the game that YCW are ahead of Mount Eliza, YCW will cover Mount Eliza because they're that far ahead of percentage. Bomb Beach, on the other hand, linked with Frankston. Bomb Beach are 4 points clear of fourth, which is Frankston. You know what I'm trying to say here? Because the Mount Eliza and YCW had a draw early in the year.
Yes, they did.
So Frankston Bombers are half a game behind.
Yep.
But they're a game behind Bomb Beach. So that's what I'm trying to say there.
Okay.
Bombers are sitting on 32. I've got that out. I hope you understood.
Who cares if we didn't?
Bombers playing some good football, and I know you're looking forward to seeing them today.
I am very much looking forward to see the Frankston Bombers.
Alex Harnett was
fantastic. And Sorrento. I don't want to take anything away from Sorrento because I think they're only getting better. So I think I'm looking forward to seeing Sorrento. I reckon they'll challenge them today.
Dramana on 20 points, Rosebud on 20, Sorrento on 16, Red Hill on 12, Pines on 8, and Edithvale Aspendale, who currently occupy the bottom spot of the ladder, and we will be talking about this throughout the day on 4 points. Now,
that wasn't wind either.
Can I just
very quickly
before we got Will?
We got Will. Will's on the phone now.
I'll come back to this later.
You'll come back to that. Well, this man does need an introduction because he's just taken on a job and he probably wished he hadn't. No, that's not true, but geez, he's been up against it this week. There's been lots happening. Not management meeting, that's my executive hat. A president's meeting, thank you, Sus, earlier on the week, Tuesday night, where there was some big decisions made. Does football play, does football not?
But I suppose some correspondence prior to that meeting trying to enforce the president. Not enforce,
which
sorry.
I want to talk to Will directly about because
great.
I think that was the start of what was laying the path, I suppose, to presidents deciding to play football or not. But I'm just going to get straight into it. Will Dakis, good morning to you, mate.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Better than you, I reckon.
It's been a busy week.
Look, just take us back. Obviously, we got notification. Sus, help me out, please. We got notification when that we were coming out of
Tuesday.
We got notification we're coming out Tuesday. Thanks, Vossi. So hit the ground running on pretty much Tuesday night. Now I know you guys are in a pretty important position where you might be just leaked stuff a little bit early. So you had a play in the process, which I would appreciate. What did that sort of 6 hours look like?
Yeah, look, it was a very busy 6 hours, that's for sure. So we'd already organised the president's meeting for that Tuesday night, anticipating some form of announcement. I heard you guys just as I joined the call. It was probably a bit of a shock that we were allowed straight back this week.
Yep.
I don't think everyone was expecting that, and we were sort of anticipating not an allowance to return to play, probably more likely, that 25k limit and a few other restrictions. I think positively the government said that we could return to play and return to competition. So within our COVID framework that we have approved by the Advisory Commission, we have scenario planning under that around when we return to play if there's allowance from the government based on how many weeks have lost, how much time we need for training for players and player welfare and all that sort of stuff. So we sort of then moved into the mode of trying to, actually enforce what we have under our COVID framework to actually start to return to play. Understanding, of course, so that obviously with the senior men as opposed to, say, juniors and other competitions that we manage, there's financial considerations that need to be taken into account. We don't want to push clubs down a path that are going to significantly financially hurt them should they return to play. Now there's obviously lots of things that go into the discussion around return to play, player welfare, getting back, trying to get a full season or as much of a season as possible, not trying to destroy the integrity of the competition too much. Yeah. So we had all those internal debates and we provided some discussion to presidents around what we thought was the best option to move forward.
Now, Will, just before I let the boys unleash on you, I think it's important for everyone to know. And I've spoken to Sean Connell, of course, ops manager of AFL South East. Now he's enlightened me before. It's not just the MPNFL that AFL South East look after. Just give us a little snapshot of because obviously we get you on all the time. You're fantastic, both yourself and Sean, and AFL South East in general, in giving us your time. Just let everyone know, please, what the competitions you actually look after.
Yeah, so we have the Frankston District Junior League,
which is huge, isn't it?
Yeah, and we also have the South East Juniors, and then those two competitions, so they run from under 8 all the way up to under 14s, and then under 15s and under 17s in the boys, and under 16s and 18s in the girls. They join to create the AFL South East junior competition, so it's a regional competition at that level. We also have our South East Women's Football League, which is 3 divisions, teams ranging from down along the peninsula here, all the way up to Coburg and out into Gippsland as well. So that's quite a vast geographic league as well. So there's a few different leagues that we manage under that space.
Well, let me preface this by saying that football's back and I'm bloody glad of it, but why are we here today and not, say, the Eastern League? There's a couple of leagues that aren't playing. Why aren't they along the same lines, or what's their stumbling block compared to us?
Yeah, so a few leagues have taken different approaches. I know some leagues out in Gippsland, some have pushed back 2 weeks to not play for the next 2 weeks, some have pushed back for 1 week. I can't talk to those individual leagues as to why they've gone down that decision path. The big one for us was what we had already set in place at the start of the season around returning to play after a certain break in the period in the season. And we determined back in the start of the year that should there be only a 1 to 3 week return lockdown, then we'll return to play the next fixtured game. We're very conscious as well that with our league, with the vote that was taken back in June around when we want the season to actually finish, that we've only got 2 games left in Division 2 and we've only got 3 games left in Division 1. So having another week off or another potential 2 weeks off, you're really starting to compromise the season at that point, not providing all teams the opportunity to try and make finals, or teams that are down towards the bottom of the ladder, opportunity for players just to actually get a game in before the end of the season.
And the consistent message has been finishing at the time, and it's going to be the same. It's still the same weekends we're planning on finishing. There's no extensions.
Correct.
Yep.
No extensions. We want to finish on those weekends that we've currently got scheduled for our grand finals. That's important not only from a player's perspective, so they can plan their life and actually understand when they're going to have football commitments and when they're not, but also particularly now at this point of the year, we're really into finals planning mode, making sure we've got Frankston Park up and going, and we have all the arrangements in place with them, and then obviously all our finals host teams, making sure they're aware and they're planning as well. It's very challenging for a club, and certainly for Frankston Park, if we're constantly shifting the goalposts as to when we're actually going to be utilising a venue.
No, Will, it's Pete Suss here. All I'd say is you probably set the preference to that President's meeting by sending out that letter to clubs saying the expectation is that we can play football this week, and I thought that was a great effort. It really set the scene, I think, for a number of clubs.
Yeah, and I'm a big advocate for returning play. I remember speaking to you guys about this during our last lockdown. It's unfortunate that we're constantly talking about different lockdowns, but we've got to remember we've got a lot of under-19s, a lot of reserve players, a lot of senior players, a lot of netballers that are all reliant on the decision. My goal is trying to increase participation as much as possible. I want people playing football at all levels. Now, I understand it's not just as easy as saying, let's return back to play and get going, but I wanted to push maximum participation where possible and where feasible.
And with that, I suppose we're going forward, and we still have a huge amount of risk going forward. What are the risks of holding finals and clubs putting up their hands, or Frankston Park accepting crowds? That's still a major risk, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're working not only with Frankston and the councils, all our councils around managing finals, but there's absolutely a risk in terms of what the crowd allowance will be allowed. So we're hopeful that the government will allow by finals times a Tier 2 status. So all our venues and events can apply for a Tier 2 status, which allows up to 7,500. Now, that's obviously subject on government playing their part in releasing the crowd numbers a little bit larger than they currently are. But absolutely there's a risk, and I know Hayden's doing a lot of work in the background around scenario planning, particularly if the government does say we're only allowed 1,000 people. How do we allocate that? Because obviously our finals crowds are going to be larger than 1,000, so we're looking at scenarios around potentially giving a certain amount to participating teams, a certain amount to open public, etc. So Hayden's doing a mountain load of work to scenario plan for that. I know it's going to be a lot of work that potentially might not actually come into effect, but we just want to be on the front foot and prepared for whatever scenario the government allows us to play our finals under.
Well, obviously you touched on Frankston Park being the grand final venues, and obviously there's been a bit happening with weeks off and COVID and all that sort of stuff. But what about the first 3 weeks of the finals? What have we come to a decision about where those finals are going to be?
It's been close to a final decision. So we've been speaking to a number of clubs and all the councils. We should be very close to announcing those early next week. So we've been speaking to the clubs that are most likely to be hosting finals, and certainly all the clubs that submitted an application to host finals. But we should be getting that out early next week once we're finalised and locked in with all the councils and everyone's happy.
Are you able to enlighten us on that at all?
No,
just a sneak.
Not at this stage, mate. I don't want to risk potentially staying somewhere has a final, and then
That's true.
on Monday we say that they don't anymore.
That's fine. I had to ask, but that's fine.
I would expect, Fossey, that it'll be similar to not last year, but the year before. Those that are used to hosting finals know how to do it. They know how to do it well, so no doubt they're going to put their hat in the ring again to be able to do it again. So there are some names being bandied around, just so you know, Will. Obviously, mate, there's a lot of chit chat getting around, which is good, mate. It's healthy. It's very healthy.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there was a decision made earlier in the week. I've only just found out about it in the last 24 hours, and I think as a media outlet, I think we only found out about it about 24 hours ago. Talk us through, please, what had to take place for the decision to be made about pay-per-view, and what was the ideology around making that happen?
Yeah, so Clutch had reached out to us some time ago, and we had a discussion with them around this potential. We didn't really progress those discussions, noting where we were at that point of the year. We were sort of going through with crowds, so there wasn't an urgency at that stage. Obviously, once the lockdown hit and the government announced that we could return without crowds, Sean and Hayden particularly did a mountain of work to try and identify some opportunities to provide some revenue back to clubs, knowing that we weren't going to have crowds. So we reached out to Clutch, and they've been great, and all our media partners, you guys at RPP, GameFace, have been really good, getting all on the same page to provide this opportunity. So essentially what it is, and it's only really just been finalised in the last 24 hours, and it will be in place for the next few weeks as well. So it's not just a 1 week situation. All the games will be live streamed through the Clutch service. They'll be behind a paywall. So punters will need to pay that $8 to get access. It'll be a day pass, so you can get access to all the games across all divisions, which is really positive. And the really positive thing, which I'm really excited about for the clubs, is that there's no expense on the clubs to get this service going. There's only benefit for them. So when a punter pays their $8 to watch a game, that money comes back to the league. Obviously, Clutch take a certain percentage of that to pay for the service, but that money then will get funneled back to clubs. So it's a real positive for clubs that they don't have to pay anything, but it's a chance to generate some revenue. So the more people that sign up, the more money is going to go back to your local club. So I would encourage as many people who are listening this morning to get involved, because that money will go back to your club.
And Will, there was, I think it was, wasn't it Sus, the Frankston Bombers put on their socials that you could purchase a virtual beer?
Yeah, go to the virtual canteen or the virtual bar.
Yeah, and clubs are getting really creative, and I would encourage people, or all clubs, to think of those opportunities to try and generate some revenue. I mean, it's a really tough time. We know we're not going to have crowds, and that's the main source of revenue for clubs. But I think the public has a really good understanding of the impact on clubs in this sense, and I think we'll see I'm hoping we'll see a really strong outcome for clubs based on the public's interaction with this service.
So, Will, given that the punters are going to go on to the Clutch website, they're going to choose. Obviously, they're going to be stopped. They're going to have to put their details in. They pay their $8. Say there's 15,000 people that are going to be on that service today, all paying their $8. Now, does that money go into a pot, and then it's divided equally amongst all the clubs?
Yeah, correct. So we were looking at opportunities to potentially just do game by game, where a punter could just pick the one game they wanted to watch, and that money would go back to those clubs. With the short amount of time that we tried to get this up in, we just decided to go down the path of providing access to all games through that day pass, and then splitting that money up.
I actually don't mind that model, because I know for me obviously there's different people. There's people that just like to follow their club, but definitely in my case, I'd try and see as much local football as I can. So for the opportunity to maybe watch, a quarter from 4 different games, or 15 minutes from 8 different games, it's probably going to be appealing to a lot of the punters out there that are thinking about doing it. And I suppose in saying that too, Will, it's an opportunity to be able to give, and obviously this is where it's coming from. It's coming from the heart of AFL South East. It gives the clubs opportunity to have some, to earn some money this week. So if you are thinking about doing it, if you're not necessarily even going to be around home, still pay. It's essentially a donation to the clubs. To make sure that going into the latter half, we're in the latter half, but the pointy end of 2021's comp, and into the future.
Yeah, and it's a great opportunity, as you mentioned. We have a lot of people out there who love to hit up a couple of games throughout a Saturday just to sort of see how they're going.
Absolutely.
And we've all been in a situation where we've been at one ground watching one game, and we get the text messages saying it's a 1 point game at Frankston Park or wherever it may be, and we want to sort of get an understanding of what's going on. This is a great chance. You can just flick over to the other stream and see how it's going and watch the final quarter or the final 10 minutes or whatever it may be. Yeah,
look, hats off for AFL South East for getting that off the line, I reckon.
So, Ben,
and it's well done to Sean, Clutch, Hayden, you guys at RPP, Game Face for really, and Red Onion, I should include. Sorry, I forgot to mention them earlier. Partners have been really great getting this up and going, understanding the value it can bring, trying to generate some revenue for clubs in really difficult circumstances.
The bandwidth, no issue. Like if say 1,000 people wanted to watch the one game, could they do that? Well, no problem.
Yeah, we're comfortable with Clutch's ability to maintain significant traffic on the site.
Now, Will, I'm going to, it's up to you how frank you want to be, mate, and we obviously appreciate your time on the Punt Football Show, but something that's been creeping up, and it's now becoming quite urgent regarding decisions. Clubs are getting a little bit antsy. There's been, I know for a fact, there's been letters submitted to AFL South East. Relegation. It is a very, very, very hot topic at the moment. Some clubs supporting it. I believe there needs to be whether it's mate. Where's it currently sitting within the war room of AFL South East? Yeah, so it certainly is a hot topic. Oh, mate. We discussed it at the President's meeting on Tuesday night. So I think it's important to separate the two discussions between potential promotion relegation, correct, as opposed to competition structure, because there's two different schools of thought, so to speak, around what you look at for both. So well, you'd say there's three then, wouldn't you? Relegation, promotion, and then obviously the structure of what may be the two competitions in 2022. So there's really three aspects of it. Exactly. And so certainly, obviously, in terms of that promotion and then the relegation, we don't want to have a situation where we're not necessarily promoting teams who have had a really good year. We don't want them to have played for nothing. Yeah. So then you sort of turn the site to, well, then we're looking really now at competition structure if we don't want to have a relegation, but we want to have a promotion system. So that then looks to go, okay, do we have a 12-team Division 1, a 10-team Division 2? Potentially is a way to have a promotion without relegation. Then you need to factor in potential interest from outside clubs who might want to join the MPNFL. What does that look like from a competition structure point of view? So I know under the MPNFL bylaws, any change to the competition structure requires a 75% vote from the member clubs. It'll certainly be something, and it's going to be an ongoing discussion over the next few weeks. We're setting up the MPNFL Strategic Committee again to look at competition structure. To provide a proposal that can go through the AFL South East Advisory and Commission to come back to clubs to potentially offer them a vote on what a competition structure might look like next year. Mate, there is so much juicy stuff happening at the moment. It is just awesome for us. So, Will, I suppose there's lots going on, and certainly with all that sort of stuff, there's tight timelines as well. In terms of making sure that it's all fit within those timelines, that we get decisions made within those timelines. So there's a lot of work to do, a lot of discussions to be had over the next month, but we're confident we'll find a right solution for the leagues.
Well, it's Pete Suss here again. I suppose I've received a lot of feedback that how do we get to a point where we're 2 weeks out from finals and we change the rules? I mean, we've got some teams in Division 2 that want to progress to Division 1, but if they see that there won't be any progression, what happens then? Yeah, so we're not looking at changing the rules, that's for sure, in terms of promotion relegation. The starting point
for our discussions is promotion will occur and relegation will occur. So that's when you start looking at competition structure in terms of, do we want to look at potentially changing that? As I mentioned, we don't want to be in a situation where we're negatively affecting Division 2 teams that have had a really good season and potentially win the flag in a month's time. We don't want to have them go through that whole season and not have that opportunity to be promoted. So that's my real starting point. Happy to have the discussion around a change in competition structure which results in no relegation, understanding the difficulty year we have.
It's not something
we need to make sure all clubs are across that.
It's not something you can change in 5 minutes either, is it?
Exactly. And that competition structure requires that 75% vote of member clubs. So there needs to be a clear proposal put towards the clubs as to a potential change in competition structure, and then have that debate and see if there is that willingness across the whole league to have that change.
So, Will, are you suggesting, mate, that it'll be all or nothing? Or is there still conversations out there that there won't be relegation, but there will be promotion? I suppose sitting, on the outer, it's all or nothing. There's relegation and promotion, or there's nothing at all, which doesn't seem necessarily fair, but in the same sense, I think it is.
Yeah, so I don't think it's necessarily all or nothing, but there's certainly the starting point of promotion will occur and relegation will occur.
Yep.
Now, should there be any change to that, we don't want to go, as you mentioned, we don't want to go 2 weeks out from the end of this season and then suddenly tell all clubs that we're not going to have promotion or we're not going to have relegation.
Yep.
The discussion that needs to be had with clubs that put forward proposals, which I think I'm in the position that I have to take to clubs for discussion and see if there's a willingness, is around that competition structure. It's not right for us to say there's going to be a change of rules, you guys aren't getting promoted or you guys aren't getting relegated. That's not the position I want to be in. But I'm happy to have that discussion if there's a willingness across the clubs to create a change in the competition structure of that 12 and versus 10, depending on which division that sits in, and then factoring in the other issue around clubs that have potential interest in joining our league.
Well, that's what I was coming on, Will. I believe you've received 2 submissions to join. I mean, we've got 3 people here in the studio, 4 people here in the studio that want to see the league expand, probably into the biggest growth corridor in Australia. What's the flavour for that to happen? Yeah,
so the MPNFL a few years back set up a process for any interested clubs wanting to express an interest in joining the MPNFL. Now, I won't talk about those individual clubs. I don't think that's appropriate. No. Yep. But we have, you're right, we have received formal interest from a number of clubs interested in joining the MPNFL. So the process we're going to go down, and this was discussed at the President's meeting, we want to set up the MPNFL Strategic Committee again and get them as a group to look at all the potential new clubs that want to join in, what that might look like to the league, what structure that would look like to the league, how would that all be managed, where would all those teams fit, how would it all feel, and look at the end of the day to then provide a potential proposal for the club's consideration across all clubs at that point. So, there's a mountain of work to be done in that space to try and look at, and that all folds into the discussion around promotion and relegation as well. Because, if you've got, say, 2 new teams wanting to join, you want to then probably look at a 12 and 12 situation.
That's right, spot on.
Now, whether or not there's a willingness of the clubs to have 2 new teams join, that's a matter for debate. That then you look at, well, if you have 2 new teams joining in, you want a 12 and 12. Do you promote 2 up to Division 1? So you have that promotion, you leave everyone else in Division 1, and you put 2 new teams into Division 2. Yeah. That's all the discussions that need to be had with the MPNFL Strategic Committee to understand what would be the best proposal to put forward to clubs.
And that's the interesting part, isn't it? Because if those 2 teams, or 3 teams, or however many have submitted submissions into the MPNFL competition, if they're very, very strong and they go into Division 2, 2022 all of a sudden is not going to be necessarily a fantastic year for 8 other sides or for 10 other sides. Sorry, it's you're either a fence sitter or it's just teetering, isn't it? It's about balance. It's about structure. It's
change management.
It's just incredible. Yep. It really is incredible what's happening and what has happened in the last week and a half.
And it needs to fold into the longer term strategic vision of the league. Do we want to push to a 3-division system in 5 years' time, or where do we want to sit in 5 to 10 years' time?
Yep.
And once we've determined where we want to sit in that 5-10 years' time, what's the path to get there? How do we achieve what we want to? How do we achieve that vision that we've set for ourselves?
Well, you wouldn't. I'm not sure you would have had ever the pleasure of meeting my brother, the man they call Toe Punt. But I'm sure Sean's told you a lot about him, mate. And but I know he pushed for 3 divisions going back a long time ago. I think if we open the floodgates, if we allow the potential of the interest shared in joining MPNFL that's currently undertaking, there's going to be a floodgate open, and I think there's going to be a lot more interest coming through. I think someone's just waiting to do it. Waiting for someone to do it, and I think once it happens, the floodgates may open. I think it is only going to strengthen what is the MPNFL and mean so much for local football. I'm a huge advocate for it. I hope we can get it across the line.
There are teams out there. Well, it's just a case of obviously the league talking to, or the teams expressing interest, the league talking to them, and then getting voted in. So there's teams out there to do it down the track, I think.
Yeah, and I think it comes back to we as a league need to decide what we want to achieve for the next 5 years. Make sure we've got that vision set. There's obviously rules and processes around clubs expressing interest and whatnot, both from an MPNFL point of view, but also from a big country point of view. And so clubs obviously need to abide by that. But if we understand what we want to try and achieve, that then provides and creates that pathway of how we're going to get there.
No, have we got has the league got a 5-year plan or a 2-year plan on the table anywhere?
It's easy to be hard, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's all been changing in this space for a long time. So
it's just something that's is vital.
Yeah,
that's all.
And it's certainly part of what we want this strategic committee to undertake, to go, okay, well, what's the mandate from clubs in terms of that vision? And then develop that. And in consultation with AFL South East and the advisory and whatnot, how do we grow football in this region?
Correct.
And that includes growing the league in terms of making sure it's strong and stable and sustainable.
Yep. And what, just for the strategic committee, just quickly, how would that be made up? Is that people that are currently in the organisation, or is there outsiders?
Made up of clubs, nominations from clubs and representatives from clubs. Obviously, with some South East representative and most likely some advisory members as well, to have input as well.
Well, Will Dakis, mate, you've had your work cut out for you this week, as I mentioned off the top. You've been on air now for just around half an hour, so we really appreciate your time. Good luck today. I hope it all goes well. We're looking forward to the TV Magic match of the day between Frankston Bombers and Sorrento at Tractor Park. Mate, thanks so much for joining us on the Toe Punt Football Show.
Anytime, gentlemen. Have a good day.
No worries. Thanks, Will.
Cheers.
Geez, you've really got to take your hats off to the executive team at AFL South East, don't you? They come under attack a lot of the time, and I know we seem to come across as blowing smoke in their ear ends, but if you come from an executive background, you know how that stuff works, and they're up against it right now. There is no question about it. So I'd like to thank Will Dakis and the AFL South East executive team, as well as all the minions that are behind there doing all the work and making it all happen, because without them, we probably wouldn't have got today going, Vossi, and you wouldn't have that little sparkle in your eye.
Just a couple of little things on that with the promotion, not the promotion, the
relegation.
The 2 teams coming into the competition, or potentially coming into the competition.
Yep.
I reckon 10 years ago, I was speaking to Craig about this morning. I reckon about 10 years ago, the Casey Cardinia League would have fallen over.
Yep,
maybe
spot on. Maybe about it. It was nearly done.
Well, Berwick left. Berwick went to Southern. I think Berwick have now gone to Eastern.
Eastern, yep.
Berwick they've been freely moving, and other teams can't get to where they want to go. But Berwick, for instance, have been moving. Sus, do you know the clubs that are in line for finals at this stage, or have you heard anything about that?
In line for finals?
As in hosting finals.
Oh,
the clubs.
No.
Jumping.
No.
I got a message earlier on in the week. Asking if I'd heard of who's coming, and the person that messaged me said I think he'd heard who it was, but he didn't. It's all very hush hush at the moment. I'm not sure why. I don't see.
It's a great risk, guys. If your club's going to go out and buy a whole heap of stuff for canteens and all that, and
but all day if there's no crowds, like that's. I mean, they're really just
that's the risk. So
sorry, I'm with
so
you.
do I go out and buy stock for the canteen? Do I go out and do other stuff? So there is a risk, and I suppose how the community supports that is going to be the great underlying factor of how we move forward.
Absolutely. Well, just to cap off that last 45 minutes of the Toe Punt Football Show, we had Will Dakis, regional general manager of AFL South East. We kept him on the line because there was plenty to discuss, and I think he was very transparent in what he could discuss, and we drilled him pretty much, didn't we?
No, we had a good chat. I suppose what I've seen this morning around the traps is that clubs are charging to get in. Mm. So that's a double-edged sword there.
It is.
So, it's so you're not allowed to have crowds, but hey guys, if you come in the gate, you're going to have to pay your $10.
See, I don't mind that because at the end of the day, they're public spaces. You can't stop people from going to public spaces to walk dogs, to get a bit of sun, vitamin D.
You can't come in to walk your dog here unless you pay $10.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So if you're going to come in, you might watch a bit of football. We're going to charge you $10. I don't mind that because the last lockdown, the last 4.0 that we experienced when we came out, man, there was a lot of people there. So why not grab them and charge them $10? I don't mind that. Although, if you are not a risk taker and a rule breaker, make sure you jump on what was it, Sus? Please, the platform that you can watch, pay your $8, Clutch.
So just go to each club's Facebook page, and there's a link there, and just follow the link. Submit your credit card details, and your way will only be transmitting the Frankston Bombers versus Sorrento match, and that'll be only to Clutch.
That will be only to Clutch, that's right. So, but if you obviously will be coming to you from the wireless, the airwaves, 98.7, 98.3 FM.
If you're walking the dog and you've got the Walkman on, just tune.
Absolutely, you'll hear our dulcet tones.
I'm sure there'll be a place open for hire where you can hire dogs for a day.
I've got two that you can come and walk if you're game. We might take a very, very quick break. We'll be back with more of the Division 1 Toe Punt Football Show.
Do you feel good about your bank? Because there is a bank you can feel good about. They share their profits to fund big community projects, small community clubs, and vital emergency services. They've given $250 million to help Australian communities thrive. They have all the products and tech you expect from a big bank, with service you don't. It's Bendigo Bank. Feel good about who you bank with. Try Bendigo. Search bendigobank.com.au or search Bendigo Bank near me.
An injury, arthritis, or chronic pain can stop you from living life to the fullest. Get back to the life you love with expert support from Ballura Private Hospital's orthopaedic surgeons. Our highly regarded surgical team live locally, ensuring you receive personalised support from diagnosis to treatment and recovery. With specialties including hip, knees, shoulders, elbows, hand, foot and ankle, plus options for robotic surgery, feel confident in trusted and caring hands. Visit www.balluraprivate.com.au. Station sponsor. Established in 1988, Progress Signs has been servicing the local community for 30 years. Located on the Mornington Peninsula, they are the #1 destination for all your signage needs, specialising in a variety of signage from vehicles to shop fronts, occasional and corporate events, short-term, long-term, and everything in between. If it's signs you need, be it large or small, Progress Signs is the place to call. Available 24/7 at progress-signs.com.au or call the team on 5975 9188. Thinking signs? Think Progress Signs. A station sponsor.
Discover the fresh new look at Woolworths Karingal Hub. We're excited to showcase our new fresh food market bursting with delicious fruit and veg. Plus, check out our new in-store bakery. Head down to the new look Woolworths Karingal Hub today. Station sponsor.
If you have a business on the Mornington Peninsula, or for that matter anywhere in the world, you need to advertise. So why not let Radio Port Phillip do it for you? Whatever your business, wherever you are, we can help you reach your target market. With a diverse range of programs, there is no one that we cannot reach. Our production team will design the perfect ad for your business, plus our competitive rates will enable you to run more ads than the opposition, giving your business the edge in your chosen profession. Interested? Contact the station on 5975 2650. Show.
And welcome back to the Toe Punt Football Show, here live from Bendigo Bank Studios in Mornington. It is a cracking day. The wind is slowly picking up, but blue skies all around. A perfect day for local football. Michael Voss, please. Round 16 in Division 1 football.
Dramana versus Mount Eliza. Now, Mount Eliza obviously need to win every game to guarantee themselves a top three double chance finish. Mount Eliza finish with Bomb Beach and Pines after this. Dramana finish with Edithvale, Aspendale and Frankston after this. So both teams have got a hard enough sort of run. Dramana, Mount Eliza, look, Dramana were in very good form before the lockdown. Now, whether or not that upsets them today or not is another thing. I think maybe Mount Eliza fresh out of the gate today. Mount Eliza might get the job done. At
Dramana Recreation Reserve, they're very, very good playing on their own ground, smaller ground. Mount Eliza, as we know, moved the ball very quickly through the centre and hard to catch at times. If the Quigley boys are up and about, Dramana's up and about. I think Dramana in a little bit, well, not necessarily an upset, but in a close one. Sus?
Yep, Dramana. But again, I'm going to go back to my thesis that we come back from the break, and it's a toss of a coin for anyone. So don't be surprised if there's upsets today.
Before we get on to the next game, isn't it just about? I think it's about what people are doing off, like why they've been in ISO, what clubs, it's about communication that's been happening through clubs. It's about programs that coaches have put together so players can keep active.
Interacting.
It's all about that, isn't it? It's all about what's been set up in the background to get to, it's almost like a slingshot effect about being, slingshotted into today's game. What's taken place in the last week and a half,
and who can react to that most efficiently?
Exactly right.
Going to get that
exactly.
So Pines and EDFs, they're all in with a show.
Yeah.
Pines playing Bomb Beach. Pines obviously sitting second bottom on the ladder, and they've got Frankston and also Mount Eliza to come. Bomb Beach, they're sitting second, but I think Bomb Beach will win today, but their last two games are Mount Eliza and also YCW.
Tough.
So Bomb Beach could potentially go second down to fourth sus at the end of the final series. Bomb Beach will win today.
I think Bomb Beach will win today, and it was interesting. A couple of weeks ago, we spoke with Adrian, the senior coach of Bomb Beach Football Netball Club, and he's very excited about these 2 weeks. He was hoping that he could go and play these two games, the two coming up games, I suppose. And Pines, nothing, taking away nothing from them. They're hard to play at Eric Bell Reserve, and I think it's going to not be an easy game today for Bomb Beach, but I think they're just too strong.
Yeah, they will be. Rosebud versus YCW. Rosebud have got Red Hill to play after this, and Edithvale, Aspendale, and for YCW, they've got Sorrento and also Bomb Beach after this. Look, Stone Cats.
Two words.
Yep.
2 words. Stone Cats for me, I think, too strong. But in saying that, those that listen to the Toe Punt Football Show and the match of the day, thanks to TV Magic, know that I am a fan of Rosebud, big fan of Rosebud. And but I just think YC today. Look, it's pretty much a coin toss, as we said, but just with form going into it, I think YC.
Well, they're not going in with form. Didn't they cop a whacking off Frankston Bombers last time?
Yeah,
so they're right up against it now.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, they came out the week later and beat Edithvale, but only beat them by 10 points, which is a surprising thing there. You would have thought they might have given Edithvale a touch-up. But Edithvale's form is good, and they're in the next game against Red Hill. If Edithvale can somehow win today, they potentially get themselves off the bottom, and they also drag Red Hill into the mix for the bottom spot on the ladder. Potentially.
I'm not saying anything.
I'm just going by the sus. I'm just going by the bare facts. That's all I'm saying right now. I actually think the Dales might win today.
I tend to agree.
I don't.
You don't?
No.
You think the Hillmen have up there too strong?
Yep. And for what's at stake. So, I mean, there's I could say lots, but there's lots of stuff at play, and I think
there is lots of stuff at play, but maybe that's why.
I think that's the opposite. I think
it's the opposite. You think there's too much going on off field?
They've let it go.
If people they've
publicly let it go.
That's huge.
if people want to listen to me and sort of get upset with what
no one wants to listen to you.
People want to listen to me and get upset with what I'm saying there in terms of bottom of the ladder and relegation's still up in the air. Well, decision's going to be made way above my head.
Yeah, exactly right.
I'm not saying anything about that, Bossy.
No. I'm saying what the Joe listener might be saying there, Sus. The last game is the TV magic of the game.
TV magic of the game.
TV. What did I say?
TV magic of the game.
No, it was
TV magic match of the day.
You were shattered last night, posted down at Clark, weren't you?
Yeah, he was. He's sitting in the corner rocking. That was before or after you spoke to him.
So, Frankston versus Sorrento, Bombers, Alex Arnett, the game against YCW, I think the second last week before we got locked down, was BAG by an absolute mile. He's a star. Frankston will win, and they just got to hope that things possibly go their way, because I actually didn't mention this either. Edithvale have got Dramana to come and also Rosebud to come. Red Hill have got Rosebud to come and also, in fact, Red Hill have got Rosebud to come and Sorrento to come. And Frankston Bombers, their games have got Pines and Dramana, and Sorrento have got YCW and Red Hill. Yeah, Bombers, too good.
Yeah, I agree. Frankston Bombers are going into today with a lot of form, and Sorrento, I think, are just look. They're a strong club. They got lots of stars in there, but I think just what's been happening off the field this year, I still think they're just trying to work it out. But they are getting better. They will test Frankston Bombers, I believe, today. But I just think just the structures of the Bombers, I think it'd be too strong.
People say they can multitask. We'll let them prove it today. They can watch whatever game that we're not doing, and just have our game on in the background, and just sort of listening to the
dulcets.
The dulcets, exactly right.
Let's talk, Fossey, that Clarko saw the application for the Sorrento coaching job as well. So.
Someone actually put a comment up there last night. It wasn't your name, though. Sure you haven't set up a duplicate paper placement yet?
He probably does have a couple.
There's nothing against the Sorrento Football Club, but they've got some people that just stalk them like you would not believe, and just put the most stupidest comments on social media up against their posts.
Because they just every now and then they'll put a post, and someone will say something on their page, and then you just get these little nuggets, and then people just follow them. It's almost like Mornington Peninsula Incident Alert is like Sorrento Football Club's Facebook page. It just there's some little nuggets in there that you just want to keep an eye on, because they're quite humorous at times. Correct. Well, that's a wrap for the Division 1 football show. We're going to take a very, very quick break and be back with the Division 2 football show. You've been listening and watching RPPFM.
More and more people with a taste for quality are shopping at Eliza Meats. Kevin and his lean team pride themselves on the finest cuts, from juicy steaks and roasts to high-grade mince and sausages. And Eliza Meats are the gourmet specialists. Inquire about Eliza Meats Spit Hire. Phone 9787 4473 for a mouth-watering meal fit for a king. It's all at Eliza Meats. See our sponsor Kevin at Eliza Meats, 112B Mount Eliza Way, a station sponsor. Do you have TV antenna or reception issues? Need to warm out your TV or want extra TV or data points? Then talk to TV Magic, Frankston and the Peninsula. TV Magic are your local TV and antenna specialists. We look after everything: TV, home theatre, satellite, plus all electrical work. Visit us at tvmagic.com.au or contact Clint for a free quote on 0484 395 555. TV Magic. We make all your TV problems disappear. A station sponsor.
Do you feel good about your bank? Because there is a bank you can feel good about. They share their profits to fund big community projects, small community clubs, and vital emergency services. They've given $250 million to help Australian communities thrive. They have all the products and tech you expect from a big bank, with service you don't. It's Bendigo Bank. Feel good about who you bank with. Try Bendigo. Search bendigobank.com.au or search Bendigo Bank near me.
Established in 1988, Progress Signs has been servicing the local community for 30 years. Located on the Mornington Peninsula, they are the #1 destination for all your signage needs. specialising in a variety of signage from vehicles to shop fronts, occasional and corporate events, short-term, long-term, and everything in between. If it's signs you need, be it large or small, Progress Signs is the place to call. Available 24/7 at progress-signs.com.au or call the team on 5975 9188. Thinking signs? Think Progress Signs, a station sponsor.
I'm Roy Sanderson. Maximise your refund and take the stress out of tax. rjsanderson.com.au. Go online and appoint a new tax agent for you or your business. Contact rjsanderson.com.au.
And welcome back to the Punt Football Show here live from the Bendigo Bank studio. It's now time to talk everything Division 2, Michael Voss.
Absolutely, and I'll just touch on the ladder quickly, shall I?
Yeah, touch on the ladder before we introduce our next guest, please.
All right, so Lang Warren have got 44 points. They're on top, a game clear of Mornington, but realistically it's 2 games with the percentage gap. But Mornington on 40, Seaford on 36, 32, it might be 32. Somerville on 28, Devon Meadows on 28. Then you've got Rye on 28, Chelsea on 26, Hastings on 20, Coringal 18, Pearsdale 16, Crib Point 4 and Tyab 4. And we've only got the 2 rounds to go there. And
bit of a logjam.
Yeah, look, we'll touch on who plays who a little bit later on. But introduce our next guest, Mr. Short Pass.
Or Sus.
Rob. Just welcome to the microphone, Rob Smith, President of the Mornington Football Netball Club. Welcome along, Rob.
Thanks, Peter. Appreciate it.
I just suppose we wanted to get a bit of an insight of how season 2021's been and take the COVID out, and I suppose the experience of the first year for the Mornington Football Club in Division 2.
Good starting point, Peter. I suppose from 2 years, it's a 2-year type scenario, which is we're all forgetting that's been 2 years, and probably, the highest thing we've seen is men and women wanting to play football and netball. So that's the biggest thing that we've tried to do at our club, and what I'm looking for, the reaction on their faces when you actually tell people they can't play football this weekend or do training and all those sort of things. That's probably been the really big impact from a club point of view, what we've seen from where we are, and how we try and address that was, just try to reiterate to them that, there's light at the end of the tunnel. We'll be playing. What we try and do is, do activities that still keeps them fit, keeps them involved in the club activities and lots of stuff. Social media's pretty good from that point of view. We have a really good sort of Facebook and social media, which keeps them up to date with what's going on. So it's been really interesting from that point of view, from just trying to keep everyone, interested in the club and try and keeping people on track of, their mental health and also their financial activities as such, because it's affected a lot of people from a financial point of view as well as mental point of view.
Rob, just on, you touched on 2019, Mornington, I think 4 games you won that year, finished on the bottom.
Yep.
You've been up in Division 1 all this time. You probably get to the end of the year and we don't really want to do that. But it's been a blessing in a way to come down. And actually, the feeling around the club, I'm assuming, would be so much more this year. Obviously, us at the cricket club, we've got to battle that this year because we got relegated for the first time last season in nearly 160 years. But the feeling compared to 2019 to now would be totally through the roof.
And totally with you, Vossi. We've the same. We've never been sort of relegated before. We were sort of when we're in Division 1, we're probably 1 game out, 2 games out, 1 goal out, 1 point losing sort of thing. Coming back has been you've seen a whole transition right from everyone at the club, from members, supporters, players, etc., to actually start winning games and to be on top, which is great. It's a new, people come and watch. Your sponsors are pretty happy. So it's like one of those things, like a regeneration of a whole club, because we were at the bottom, remember, for about 2 or 3 years. And so we looked forward to going down, which is good. So we obviously kept Goosey on board, which is terrific. We nearly maintained all our players as such, which was great. You can do something with your salary caps. You can do something with getting more committee people in involved, which we have done. You can virtually get your house in order. So, and then you can sort of start setting your strategies again for the next 3, 4, 5 years to make sure that obviously our objective is to get back up into Division 1. But when we get into Division 1, we want to make sure we have a plan to take us to the top of Division 1 and stay in Division 1. So that's the whole thing. So the big learning thing from our club is get your house in order, get ready, get up there and stay there from that point of view. And it's that's what we've focused on now at Mornington.
Norris, can you see any disruption in that plan if there is no relegation or promotion this year?
I don't think... Sorry. To me, there will be relegation and promotion this year.
Yep.
As far as we're concerned, that's what our club is focused on, and I don't see that changing this year. And that's just where we are from a club point of view. We've taken that equation out of everyone's minds at this time of year, because the last thing we want is our players to have that focused on. We want to focus on winning rather than focus on relegation and promotion. As far as we're concerned, it's not happening. We haven't heard anything from the league, and so we'll just wait and see what goes on. So,
Rob, what you're essentially saying, mate, is that if there is a vote, we'll go to a vote, that the Mornington Football Club will be voting for a relegation and a promotion.
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. I personally like that.
You can't change the rules this late in the season.
Exactly right. It's absolutely nonsense. I hope.
It's the same. You've kicked the goal and hold it.
Yeah, exactly. I think common sense needs to prevail here.
Yep.
We've been able to play not quite a full year of football. Obviously, last year, Rob, was the
intent is to play
exactly right. We've been banging on saying that we're playing finals regardless. Well, what comes with finals, as far as I'm concerned, is relegation and promotion.
Correct.
That is a part of the competition. That are the rules of MPNFL at the moment. So, mate, just abide by them. You mentioned, Rob, that it's been a breath of fresh air for the Mornington Football Netball Club. I believe it to be very much the same.
Yep.
I know, talking to Simon Goosey at the end of 2019 when you were relegated, he was, I don't know, he's obviously such a competitive beast. He was absolutely gutted about being relegated and thought it was unfair and it was all this, but I just can't help but to see every time I see, and I've seen Mornington a few times this year, I like what's happening at the club. I just think there's been this just an absolute change in mentality, in culture. Mate, it needs to be celebrated. It really doesn't. You should be so proud of what you've been able to achieve. You and your committee. It's just a good place to be at.
Yeah, and especially just to also mention netball. Netball's
absolutely
been one of the biggest things that we've been involved in, and also women's football. The women's football did struggle a bit this year from numbers point of view because of what happened with a bit of a restructuring of the leagues, but that's what happens. But we've just got back on with it, and next year we're going to bounce back in our women's football as well. So.
And Mick, Rob, can you give us an update on Mick's Wonderlick's little operation to build a nice little grandstand out the back there?
It's sensational. If I had half an hour like Mick, I'd go on about it. But
I'm too scared to get him on.
In summary, but it'd be good. In summary, it's just sensational what can be done when one particular person puts their mind to achieve something. And what's been happening is, as you probably know, we've been down the bottom of the priority list when it comes to our pavilion, and he's been able to go in and talk to the hospital, and together we've come up with an overall plan and strategy that's going to benefit A, the community, and B, the sporting clubs. So, and I'd say it's probably one of the first ones I've seen where a community asset will become used 360. A community asset used 365 days a year by doctors and consultants, and a gym, and a football club, and a cricket club, and a netball club. And and then it gives you the opportunity to bring in even a darts club or a chess club or some other clubs to utilise that facility, which is brilliant. So, it's been a magnificent feat.
That's
by
huge.
Mick, and it's been
still hearing around Christmas is the knockdown date for the club.
We believe it's still Christmas.
Yeah.
So we've sort of geared up that this will be our last home game against Tyab, because just putting it out there, Tyab's going to be playing at home. Our home ground next week, because their pavilion's coming down.
That's right, yeah, they're in the middle of, aren't they?
Yeah, we're working with Tyab to see if we can have a great last game at home next week.
Now, Rob, I'm a bit of a sentimental beast. Is there anything going to be coming from the original to the new?
the plaques, the stones at the front.
Yep.
There's a couple of other things as well, because I was impressed with we're down at Seaford, and that's a magnificent stadium down
beautiful.
at Seaford, and they actually took some of the original bricks.
Yes.
And
Yep.
I thought that was a really good feature to put the bricks
Absolutely
behind trophy cabinets.
Correct.
And say, well, that's what it is, because I
Yeah.
think our bricks are probably. How old will our bricks be?
Yeah, exactly right.
The ones at the front with all the original sponsors that built the original club rooms, they'll probably will be going somewhere.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that stuff. And I know Seaford, they were very, very proud of the fact, and they made mention to us, and if we could pass it on, that had taken place. I think it's important. You've got to take a little bit, and it's for luck. If you're superstitious, you've got to take a little bit of old and a little bit of new and just amalgamate.
Rob, and a completion time, just roughly?
Probably 18 months to 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's
struth.
we're hoping it's going to be, shorter than that, but it's just one of those things we don't know. We're judging on other pavilions what's happening, and they're normally out of commission for 12 months, the whole ground's
Yeah.
the ground's okay, but the actual club rooms are normally 12, 18 months before we can actually get back in them. So the sooner we start, the sooner we can get back in.
And obviously next year is the plan to play home games still at Mornington, or moving elsewhere for 12 months?
At this stage, not sure. We're pretty sure we'll have to move ovals at some stage, but the big thing about ovals these days is a shortage of ovals. You've got women's football coming through, you've got more junior clubs coming through, so there's a shortage of ground somewhere. So I'd probably say we'll end up still playing at home with portables, etc., and lots of stuff, and may have to move some of our games. Or
there's a nice little ground up the road up
Exactly.
at Frankston there.
Yeah.
Oh, not just that. Also,
Friday night.
South Mornington. I mean, I remember going there when my boy was playing junior football. Mate, that has changed so much. That's a hub.
Yeah.
Like, surely.
I'm a Mount Martha person, so I can't say South Mornington.
What do you mean?
Mate, it's like chalk and cheese. They just don't get on.
Mount Martha and South Mornington.
Yeah.
Well, how's the facilities at South Mornington?
Fantastic.
It is unbelievable. Another team that will, I think, be knocking on the door when Division 3, perhaps.
Their reserves and seniors play Southern Football League today down at Citation Oval. So good luck to all the boys there. I had to drive. Sorry, Mitch, I'm going to dob you in. I had to drive you home at 2 o'clock. I hope you do well on the ones today.
We actually use South Mornington as a ground, Citation Oval as a ground out there with our thirds and fourths, our fifths and sixes play out there during the cricket season. It's facilities are just...
It's just not football, it's for the whole community.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And they need to be community assets.
Correct.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah, and I like what you said there, Rob. I think that is imperative in obviously, there's been lots of developments happening in local football and netball around, developments of courts, developments of grounds and facilities and pavilions and so on and so forth. It's now, it doesn't necessarily need to be used when there's netball and football and cricket. Go down there and just enjoy your space. That's what your rates pay for. So get down and enjoy it. Rob, if you can stay around, mate, we've got plenty more to discuss in Division 2 football, but we might get cracking on what is round 17, Michael Voss, in Division 2.
17/9, yeah. It's
if you're looking at the AFL Southeast website, it's round 9. It's Groundhog Day. It's not. It's round 17. You can all P1SS off.
Mornington playing Langwarrin. Mornington's last game against Hyde. Langwarrin's last game against Pearcedale. Going to be an absolute cracker, this one, and obviously.
Which one, please?
Who am I tipping?
No. Which one? Which game?
Mornington Langwarrin.
It is definitely the match of the day in Division 2 football. There is exactly right. There is no question about it.
They haven't played each other yet.
Oh, really?
Yep. So COVID got into them in the first half. So
if I blank out, if I just go off air today, it's because I'm going to be watching the live stream.
Oh, yep.
Drooling every time that your boy picks up the ball.
Yeah. Who would that be?
That would be Mitch.
Who's that?
Mitch Cuthbert.
Oh, correct.
He thinks. Anyway, I'm a big fan of young Lockie Susevich as well. I love what how he goes about his football, and he's the general down back. We were heavily criticised as a media outlet the other day.
The meat tray.
The meat tray, and to all those that criticise can get stuffed.
Can you tell Rob who had voting rights on that?
Vossi, Craigo, and myself.
Rightio.
Yeah. Mate, the fruits of war. Did you end up having that lamb?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Still in the freezer.
Maybe
you should cut it all up and put it in gravy, and everyone can go down to Mornington and you can just feed Simon
guilty.
Goose.
I should take the Weber down and chuck it in Main Street and just do a split
just at the gate. Just stand at the gate. Yeah. I feel guilty eating it. Like I said, they can all get stuffed. We have voting rights, and we thought he was marvellous.
Who are you tipping?
Oh, sorry, Vossi. Just back on track, eh?
Yep, I've got to straighten things up. Short pass.
Struth. Two week break. I've seen both clubs successful leading up to this game. Oh, Struth and Rob, you're sitting right next to me. It's always difficult, mate. But I can't go away from Langwarrin.
I'm sitting 2 seats away from him. It's easy for me. I'm going to say I'll say this much, Sus. Langwarrin play well on the big grounds, and they don't really play on too many grounds like Mornington's.
Correct.
And Mornington might be able to sort of really do what Rye did to them in the first half of that night game that we had there, where they
tighten things up,
tighten their space on them. So look, I'm looking forward to seeing the results of this. And
me too.
We saw
what Langwarrin were able to do to Seaford at Seaford, smaller ground. They put 9 on in the first quarter, wasn't it, Vossi?
Yeah, and Big Red was just your brother from another mother.
Absolutely.
He was just
on fire.
Just lacing them out on the chest, just tapping them down, and Peach and Andrew Arthur and the midfielders were just having a ball, and Sean Herdman took 3 in the first 6 minutes.
Yep. Sean Herdman was on fire.
Yeah,
it was a very good game of football. It was a bit of a clinic in the first half until Seaford decided to show up.
Maybe a couple of big outs for Mornington today, so may have to pick Langwarrin.
Oh, well,
any particular clue on who they might be?
Yeah, exactly.
No idea.
What? Well, you can't run with that and then not know who they are.
It's a bit hard when he lives under the same roof, isn't it?
Well, bloody say it.
Well, I don't want to give the team tactics away.
So, read between the lines, folks.
Yeah,
if it's Lockie Susevich won't be strapping on today, is he gone to join his brother up at Buller, has he?
No, he's got some...
got some injuries?
Okay,
well, that's not... he needs to concentrate on getting fit for what will be the pointy end of the competition.
Correct.
Next game, please.
Just sorry.
No, not yet.
That tie-up game next week, is that definitely going to be at Mornington?
Yes.
It is definitely. Yes. Okay.
No need to get your tip, Rob.
No, we'll win.
Very confident. I love it.
Like I said, it's whoever comes out of the gates the quickest.
Exactly right. We know both teams can absolutely put the score on. If you've got Big Jackson Calder,
is your man Mitch the man for him?
Absolutely, 100%. But then you've got the likes of Smythe as well. Smythe will go to Heath. There's no question about that. North, sorry. Both boys. That will be the back end. Sorry, depends. The back half and the front half of both sides are going to be exceptional to watch today.
At the end of the day, the Seaford match versus Langwarrin, Seaford won the last 3 quarters.
Yes.
So if Mornington can withstand that, don't give me the ride looked over there. Seaford won the last 3 quarters.
They did.
And was the person over your shoulder there, actually?
Oh.
So, no, all good. So
is that the bad Vossi on the shoulder, was it?
No, it was the chief.
The chief, the boss man.
Kooringal versus Hastings. Kooringal's rye, last game is against Rye. Hastings' last game against Seaford next week. Kooringal sitting on 18 points and out of it. Hastings sitting on 20 points and, well, they're probably out of it as well. So it's probably, in terms of finals makeup, they're both out of contention. But I'll say that Kooringal might win because it's at home.
Kringle are doing well at the moment.
I think Kringle are going along very nicely at the moment. That'd be, I mean, obviously at this point in the season, they're not going to be entirely happy with where they're at, but I think expectations, they had a lot of people leave their club, including obviously some key figures, and I think they've done well for where they've come from to where they are now. I think they should be proud, and I know that Kringle are a very strong club with a beautiful, huge supporter base, and their supporter base will get behind them and only get stronger and stronger.
I'll finish off the last two matches very well.
Yeah, I tend to agree. So Kringle for me, I agree, Vossi. Ballon Park.
Crib Point versus Tyab. Crib Point's last game against Somerville. Tyab's is against Mornington. Tyab's last couple of weeks before the lockdown was very, very good, and for that reason I'm going to go for the Yabbies.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Is that upset or no? You just think...
I think that the Yabbies have been... Crib Point haven't been in the best of form, and I think the Yabbies previous 3 weeks, I think they played Hastings, got blown out of the water in one quarter, lost by 5 goals, but they lost to Rye by, was it 2 goals, and they beat Pearstown. So their form's been okay, Sus.
Yeah, no, they'll do well. Tyab will come back and get another win.
Tyab another win. Just before I give my tip, Rob, obviously you don't just stand around, mate, necessarily doing things behind the scenes. You tend to watch a fair bit of football. What's your tip for Kringle and Hastings?
Interesting one. I think probably Kringle.
Yeah.
So I think Kringle will do that one.
Okay, and Crib Point Tyab?
Cribby. I do like Cribby.
Yep.
I think Cribby will do well as well.
I tend to agree with Rob. I think Crib Point are they're on the road to success. I think they're only getting stronger. They're bleeding their kids, very much like Tyab, obviously, but I know Crib Point have been doing it for a little bit longer. So Crib Point for me. Crib Point, it's a fantastic venue, and no crowds, doesn't really matter. Get out there, get some sun, go and support your club however you can. Crib Point for me, Michael.
Okay, Devon Meadows versus Seaford. Now, obviously, the equation's simple for Devon Meadows. 2 wins, they play finals. Their draw ain't easy. They play they play Seaford today, and they finish off with Chelsea away. So, the draw's not easy for them. I'm really, really hoping that Devon win. I'd love to see Devon play finals. I'd love to see them see Neil be able to get his teeth into a final series. I just think that Seaford are going to win. I think Seaford will be too good.
I think
Devon.
You're going to go Devon. They've lost a little bit of form, Seaford, at the moment. We saw them. They haven't won at home yet.
No consistency.
No, they're lacking consistency, and when when their stars are firing, they tend to play good football. You shut them down, and you're only as good as your bottom 5. And I think that's where Seaford are sort of at the moment. But I think it's going to be a very good game. Do it for yourselves. Do it for a great mate of RPPFM and the Punt Football Show, Neil Craig, senior coach of Devon Meadows. Do it for him. Devon Meadows for me in a very, very tight one, maybe even a draw.
Rye versus Chelsea. Now this is the other. So you did. Have you tipped? You tipped, didn't you?
Yeah,
of course I've
tipped.
He said
Devon.
You did tip. That's right.
See, I told you he doesn't pay attention to you, Sus.
Now. Rye versus Chelsea, 6th versus 7th this is, boys. In this game, the loser's out. Simple as that. The loser cannot play finals.
Struth.
Well,
no. Yeah, I love it. I love these clutch games.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Chelsea in this one. Chelsea's last game, by the way, is against Devon, and Rye's last game is against Kringle.
Chelsea, no, I reckon they'll get lost around Dramana. That's a long trip down to Rye.
That's a really long trip.
That's nearly, 45 to 50 minutes?
50 minutes.
What's the driving equivalent of vertigo? Like, if you get afraid of heights, what's the driving equivalent, do you reckon?
Car sickness?
Yeah, they might have do that, do you reckon? Okay.
No, I like Rye here. Rye have set the stage in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Absolutely.
Pre-COVID, so they're back on track. So I'll give Rye the tick there.
Well, I work out with the big Kirkers. He's at one end of the gym, and I'm at the total opposite end of the gym. But we still see each other. And
he left himself. We could have nailed him there. We could have had pot shots there.
He's a massive unit, and he just gives me the nod, and we talk a little bit of football. He's happy with the way the D's are travelling down at RJ Rowley Reserve. But he's one of the better grounds to play football at, and God, I hope they're in the mix for the final series. Not just obviously in it, but also hosting it.
Your face has gone as red as your beard.
Really?
Oh yeah, it definitely has.
It's Kirkers and I. Don't you worry about that. Brothers from another mother. Not really. Rye too strong for Chelsea today. They're going to have a good day.
Yeah, Chelsea for mine. Somerville versus Pearstown. One win for Somerville will be enough.
Yep.
They need to win 2 and hope that they have a slip up from Seaford along the line. Somerville, Pearstown. Somerville will win. Somerville's last game is against Crib Point, and Pearstown's last game is against Langwarren.
Well, we're all fans of Wiggy here at the Toe Punt Football Show, and he's going to ask a lot from his boys today.
He's a massive fan of volatile Vosky.
He's a massive fan of volatile
Juggernaut, did you know that?
I have heard that, funnily enough. And Somerville at Somerville Recreation Reserve, geez, if the members' bar was open, she would be flooded today. But let's see what happens. I think, unfortunately for Boris and his boys, Pearstown, I think it's going to be a day out for Somerville. Somerville for me.
Correct, Somerville. They're doing very well at the moment. So, especially Pearstown. So we'll have another unit down at Somerville taking that stream into Clutch for RPPFM. So that'll be on the...
Can we get a link through today's game on our socials? Oh no, there will be, won't there?
Not on socials, it'll go through.
No, so ours will go through Clutch. Our two will go through Clutch, but can we get a link up on...
I have a little tiny screen in the van that will be producing that stream from Frankston.
Oh, I like it. Rob, your thoughts on, obviously, Somerville, you've seen them play. They're hard to beat when they're very, very good, but... Somerville, Pearstown going along very well at the moment. They've won some games that you wouldn't expect and lost some games that you'd expect them.
No, Somerville for me. Somerville are a good, very, very well-drilled team. So
yeah.
Well, they're the top 3, I think, at the most. Somerville, Mornington, and Langwarren.
And it just might be that they've lost to Rye twice this year, Somerville, but also that they've kicked inaccurate in some games. That might sort of come back to bite them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on the bum. So.
Is Fermanus... I'm not sure if Fermanus is...
I think he is playing.
He is playing. Do you know that 100%?
I was told yesterday he's playing.
Oh, were you told? Who were you told by?
Well, I can't really say.
Pardon?
I can't really say, but I was told yesterday
he's playing. He is playing, wearing the number 21, of course. I always say, we concentrate on key players, but he's one of the heart and souls of the Somerville Football Netball Club, and when he's playing, he's a lot better. There is no question. Like I said, Somerville for me, Pearstown, their run home has been exceptional, and they should be proud of their 2021 season, but unfortunately Somerville too strong. Well, it's been building. Oh no.
There's still some more.
It's truth.
I suppose there's a footy camp down Monday.
Yep.
With Jerry DeConza and his group of trainers down near McClellan Reserve, Sorrento.
Yep.
So big plug for that. Folks, get online to probably the Rosebud, Rye, Sorrento football clubs, and you'll see a link there to book yourselves in.
So what's that about, please?
It's just about getting kids involved in training in footy.
Good.
And starts off around 5:30 in the afternoon after school, keeps them occupied and gets kids back into footy.
Exactly.
So I'll share the link on the page and get that up and going. So all good.
Just quickly before we Josh Gertz, just getting some just some fresh information. Josh Gertz plays his first game for Dramana today, playing with his brothers, obviously. 4 brothers playing today. That is unbelievable. So congratulations to Josh Gertz and the Gertz boys. That's going to be pretty special today, I would have thought.
Next one, RPPFM travel to Skybus Stadium tomorrow for the 2:05 clash, Frankston versus Richmond.
Yep.
So big match. Tune into RPPFM Plus and catch us on the live stream. We'll be up against KO. So we'll give them a run for their money.
Don't you worry about that. KO. What's that about?
No, don't you know KO?
Yeah, I've got it.
Trivia question without notice, boys. How many games did the 4 Dannahers play together?
Too many.
1.
Craig goes right. Only 1. So they're going into. So the Gertz boys are going into that sort of territory.
Into famous territory,
and a big hello to Josh Newman for 100 games with Frankston. Not with Frankston, overall in the VFL this week.
He's also a big fan of Volatile Vossi too.
Well, speaking of Volatile Vossi, just before I cut to that, we had there was some devastating news come from a club this week.
Yes.
And I won't go into it because we're unfortunately running out of time. But I wouldn't go into it even if I was mentioning it at the top of the show. Mental health awareness is next level. Look after everyone, even if you think they're travelling okay, make sure you ask if they're okay, because we're losing too many kids. And when I say kids, 18 and 19-year-olds, it's bloody not good at the moment. So
especially here on the peninsula.
Exactly. Get around everyone, please. And I can't stress that strongly enough. You just don't know what people are going through, and so make sure you just reach out to everyone. It's pretty important at this.
And some probably good news for you, Vossi, just off that is South East Queensland have just gone into lockdown.
Oh, it's put off for another little while.
I think that just made him a touch more volatile.
I think you might. I think you're better off just going and putting your IXL heat lamp in your bathroom on and just sitting in your bathtub and getting some rays.
I was going to go buy some budgies this week.
Well, it's that time of the day again on the 31st of July.
The low pressure system.
The low pressure system. He's got his pen poised. He's just staring into the camera up there. It's now time for Volatile Vossi, the juggernaut.
Alistair Clarkson, best coach in the competition. Yes, I'm a Hawthorn supporter, but best coach in the competition bar none. Sam Mitchell was always going to be the next coach of Hawthorn. When Sam Mitchell and Alistair Clarkson came out last week on another radio station, they've been planning this for years. It's all good. We're going to see it through. I had no reason, and people had no reason not to.
Didn't work at Collingwood. It won't work there.
Not to believe it.
Weeds suck.
You just hold back there, all right? It didn't work at Collingwood. It sort of didn't work, even though Ben Rutten and Scott Essendon sort of on the verge of the 8. It didn't work. It didn't necessarily work last year because Rutten and Worsfold were sort of at loggerheads. You could tell there was tension there. When you look at the camera and anyhow, there's tension there. There would have been tension with this as well. Succession plans don't work.
No.
Well, okay, they've come out yesterday and said that Sam Mitchell will be the coach next year. While Sam Mitchell can probably coach, and I like Sam Mitchell as a choice. I think it's too early.
No, you don't.
And I think it's too early. And the fact that Clarko's he's the best coach in the competition. He will be for another 10 years, and he's not going to be at Hawthorn. That really does pee me off, listeners. Tell you what also pees me off today.
He's gone the double barrel again.
This week we came out of lockdown. You can have 100 people inside a restaurant. You can have 300 people outside, but you can't have any visitors to your house. You can't. Where's the consistency? No wonder, as people saying before, no wonder there's mental health issues when you can't see people. You can't go in and see your family. You can't go in and see your friends. You've only got one person in a bubble, which is probably your partner. In your case, it'd be Ash, wouldn't it? So,
yes, very much.
So, although Ash has probably got Max as her bubble partner, but that's all right. It's crazy to some of these laws that you've got. 300 outside, 100 inside, but no visitors at home. I just don't get the consistency. End of rant.
Mic drop.
You've got your support crew next door, Michael, just bidding you.
We are on camera.
We're on national TV.
We're on national TV. KO, isn't it? No, it's not.
But look, good volatile Vossi there, Vossi. So, did you at least keep the Clarko posters or?
Oh yeah, he's got his Clarko jocks.
You know,
He's got to hold it up. This has got to confirm though that you are still in the running for the Hawthorn president job.
Well, Jeff's got blood on his hands. Isn't that what you said, Vossi?
I did, and I'll say it to the camera. Jeff Kennett, you're the Hawthorn president, but you have got blood on your hands over this, and it's just wrong. Like, you wanted Clarko out a while ago, you finally got him out, well, and you'll probably walk in the not too distant future. Just very disappointing. Lance Franklin left Hawthorn at $1 million a year.
You're done.
He left at Hawthorn $1 million a year. Don't blame him for leaving. Still love Buddy as a player. Still love Buddy as a player.
And you'll love Clarko even more down at Sorrento, mate.
Well, it's him and Nathan Buckley, the dual
forward and backline coaches.
Forward and backline, maybe. Well, that is a wrap from the RPPFM Punt Football Show. I'd like to thank Regional General Manager Will Dakis for joining us for that lengthy interview. We had plenty to discuss. I'd like to thank Rob Smith, the President of the Mornington Football Netball Club, and of course Master Button Pusher Crago. Thanks so much. Michael Vosmere of Mornington and Peter Nipples Susovic join us live from 1:45 today as we bring you all the action from Tractor Park in Baxter. And Grounds firm. Grounds looking good. The day is looking good. Thanks to TV Magic, that will be. You have been listening and watching RPPFM, the voice of Peninsula football.
It's a goal from 70 metres!
Goes down towards his feet.
Oh, there's a fire at the back. Fantastic.
Something from nothing. That Dramana were pressing. You're listening and watching the voice of Peninsula football.
The 200 gamer has put through the first goal of the game.
Welcome to the RPPFM footy coverage.
This is where NPNFL happens.